Hello, Joe? Yeah, good. Manager here. The wash case is finished. Yes, it was a great job. There'll be a bonus in it for you. Now look, it's time we started operations with this new client, Mrs. Roberts. So pick Susan Marsh up in the car in the morning, will you, and take her round to see this Mrs. Roberts. Okay? Cheerio.
Sure this is the right house?
Positive. That's his car on the drive.
Then he hasn't gone to work yet. What's his name, by the way?
Roberts. Fred and Jane Roberts. He'll be off in a minute.
Oh, then we'll wait. It's no good me barging in while he's still there.
Two 87350.
Yes, speaking. Oh yes, morning, Jim. Today? Has it got to be today? All right then. About half an hour? Okay, cheers for now.
Who was that?
Oh, it was the garage. They want the car in this morning.
That's just too bad. They can't have it. I want the car this morning.
Well, you can't. I'm taking it in for a service.
Take it another day. I'm going out to see someone today and I want to use the car.
They can't do it any other time. It's today or never. It badly needs a service.
It's bloody marvellous, isn't it? I don't often want to use the damn car, but when I do, you think of some excuse to stop me.
It's no excuse. I've told you it's got to go in today. Why the hell didn't you say before you wanted it?
Because I didn't know before.
You're always the same. You wait until you find out you can't have something, then you want it. Well, if it's that urgent, go on a bus. And if that's beneath your dignity, then you get a bloody taxi.
Oh, and you're going to pay for the taxi? No, of course not. The money you give me for a week won't run to taxis, you know.
Look, I'm sick and tired of all these arguments over nothing. I've put up with it for too long. What the hell's the matter with you lately? For the last couple of years, you've been picking an argument every day. If living with me is so bad, why don't you bloody well leave?
Oh, yes, you'd like that, wouldn't you? That's just what you want, isn't it? Well, I've got news for you. I'm not leaving you to have everything I've helped to get.
Yeah, don't make me laugh. I had everything before I married you. I'm not arguing anymore. You can't have the car, and that's that.
Mrs. Roberts,
Yes, I'm Mrs. Roberts.
I wonder if I could come in for a minute, please.
Well, that depends on what you want. I'm rather busy at the moment, and I certainly don't want to buy anything, thank you.
I'm not saying anything, Mrs. Roberts. Quite the opposite, in fact. I'm offering you something.
Oh, yes? Such as what?
A service, Mrs. Roberts. A service that can benefit you a great deal. Actually, it is very confidential. And I do think that we need to discuss it privately. So, if I could come in just for a minute.
Well, there's no harm in listening. You'd better come in, then.
Thank you, Mrs. Roberts. This won't take long.
Mind you, I'm not buying anything. Remember, in here. Sit down, Miss,
Marsh. Susan Marsh. Here's my card.
Happy Days Limited. That's a funny name for a company.
I don't think so. Anyway, as you can see by my card, I'm one of their local agents.
Yes, that much is clear, but I've already told you I don't want to buy anything.
And I've already told you, Mrs. Roberts, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm offering you a service.
So you say, Miss Marsh, but just what is this service?
But you said our company had a funny name, Happy Days Limited. But it's not so funny, really, when I tell you that our service is to offer you happiness.
Just what are you really selling?
I've told you, Mrs. Roberts. Happiness.
Then you must be flogging religion.
No, nothing like that.
I've got it. You're selling holidays. You're a travel agent.
Wrong again, Mrs. Roberts.
Well, come to the point, Miss Marsh. I've got work to do.
Well, to be perfectly blunt, we can help you with your marriage problems.
I've got none, so you're out of luck.
Really, Mrs. Roberts, you do surprise me. There aren't many people who can say that.
Well, it's true.
Well, now, Mrs. Roberts, I think I should tell you that we have a complete dossier on your marriage status.
You've got what?
A file on you and your husband.
Well, you're a cool customer, all right. You can sit here in my house and tell me that. Why, what have you got to go around with files or dossiers, as you call them?
Look, Mrs. Roberts, I didn't build up the file. I just act on it. There's no need for alarm, you know. It's completely confidential.
You'd better leave, Miss Marsh. After what you have just said, I see no point in listening to you any more.
Now, don't get into a state. I haven't time to waste either. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could help you.
How did you get the information about us?
We have agents talking to neighbors and shopkeepers. They make a note of what they hear.
You've no right to
It's
go.
not a question of right, Mrs. Roberts. If you and your husband are stupid enough to have rows in front of other people, then you can expect gossip to spread.
Then I suppose you know all about our troubles.
Everything.
All right, so you know. But how can you help? Are you from a marriage guidance organization?
Not really, but we often step in when they have failed. Have you been to one?
Once, quite a while ago.
And was she any good?
Well, I only went to once until I found out she'd been divorced twice herself.
I know what you mean. It's like all these maiden ladies who claim to be experts on bringing up children. But to be serious, Mrs. Roberts, I can assure you that our methods work. But tell me, as a matter of interest, why haven't you had a divorce?
It wouldn't pay me, really. I get nothing from a share out because my husband had everything we possessed before I married him. Anyway, I haven't any grounds.
Why hasn't he divorced you?
He hasn't any grounds either.
You could easily give him grounds.
Oh, it wouldn't make any difference. He won't think of divorce. He's got old-fashioned ideas about it. Hey, hold on a minute. Now I've got it.
Sorry?
Your job. I know what you do. You arrange dirty weekends for divorce cases.
Wrong again, Mrs. Roberts. Let me assure you I wouldn't be involved with anything so sordid.
Well, if you don't tell me right now just how you can help, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
All right, Mrs. Roberts, I'll come straight to the point. If a woman is married, is unhappy, can't get a divorce and has no money, what can she do?
You tell me.
She gets rid of the husband.
You don't mean...
Yes, I do, Mrs. Roberts. I mean just that. You kill the husband.
You're joking. You can't be serious.
I assure you I'm not joking. I'm very serious. You might even say I'm deadly serious.
But that's murder.
We never use that term. We prefer to call it beneficial disposal.
It doesn't matter what you call it, it's still murder. Anyway, it's a good job I don't believe you. You're pulling my leg, aren't you? Now I know your little game. You're from that candid camera lock on the telly, aren't you? Oh, you had me worried for a moment.
This is no laughing matter, Mrs. Roberts. Just think for a moment. Your husband dies. All the estate comes to you. You're suddenly well off. You can sell the house and move away and start a new rich life.
I do believe you mean it. You are serious. But this is ridiculous. You can't carry on like that. This is England, not Chicago.
England or not, we have many satisfied clients. As a matter of fact, I think we had one in a street just near you. And Mrs. Harris, do you know her?
I've heard of her. Didn't her husband have a mysterious accident?
He did, but it wasn't mysterious to us.
You mean your lot did that? Well, I have to admit you've got me interested, but there must be a catch in it somewhere. What do you get out of it?
All my company require is a small percentage of the estate. We do our homework, Mrs. Roberts. If we find there's no money coming, we take out a life insurance on the person concerned.
Well, you've convinced me that you're serious, but I don't think I'll use your service. I wouldn't have the nerve.
Well, of course, it's up to you, Mrs. Roberts. I'll leave you to think it over. You've got my card. If you change your mind within 24 hours, phone me. Oh, by the way, Mrs. Roberts, please don't get any silly ideas like going to the police. They won't believe you. After all, as you said, this is England, not Chicago. Don't forget, 24 hours is all the time you have. I'll find my own way out, Mrs. Roberts. Good morning.
PM at 5 p.m. Mrs. Brown with the news headlines from Hong Kong. Prime Minister of the company is thinking of
Is dinner ready?
No, it isn't. You're too early.
I was only asking.
You've asked the same question every night for years.
You're trying to get conversation.
Don't bother.
You have to start being funny every time I talk to you.
Meanwhile, the miners have rejected a 10% pay offer and have asked for...
Did you go and see your friend today?
You knew damn well I wouldn't go without the car. That's why you took it.
Oh, for God's sake, don't start on about the car again. I want some peace and quiet when I come home. Home's more like a bear garden.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd gladly do that if I thought you wouldn't be there.
Oh, don't worry, I'll not be there. Too many of your relations are there already.
Oh, damn, who the hell's that?
We find the runaway film director Roman Polanski, and why the 1930s slump was part of...
It's Jack from next door. He wants me to go over for a minute. Keep the dinner warm, will you?
Nice hell, I will. Have your dinner over there.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Roberts. Good evening. You've thought it over, have you? And you want our service?
I think so, but I'm a bit worried. I don't like violence. I wouldn't want my worst enemy to suffer pain.
Don't you worry about that, Mrs. Roberts. He won't suffer, I promise you. He won't know anything about it. Yes, I'm sure of that. Our organization is very efficient, you know.
Jane!
Please just come back.
Where
I
are
can't
you?
talk now. I'll ring you later.
Ah, there you are. We've been invited out.
Oh, that makes a change.
Yes, it's Jack and Frida. They just told me it's their silver wedding.
That's nice for them.
They're going to a nightclub to celebrate. They want us to go with them.
I haven't been nightclub for ages. Are we going?
You know, Jack's just told me a funny thing. He said that once they never thought they'd reach their silver wedding.
How do you mean?
Well, it seems that for a time they did nothing but row and fight.
That sounds familiar. Fancy that, all these years next door we didn't even know.
He says they used to argue like cat and dog, mostly over silly things, really. He reckons it was just a lack of communication. They couldn't sit down and talk about the problem.
Well, they must have found an answer. What did they do about it?
They got some advice from these marriage guidance people. As you say, they seem to have found the answer. I wish we could.
Do you really mean that, Fred? We've got a problem, you know, and for the past 2 years it's been getting worse. We never talk, do we? We just pretend it isn't there and bottle it up inside and make ourselves miserable.
You're right, Jane. We are fools, really. You know, the trouble is, neither of us will make the first move.
Well, I'm willing to talk things out if you are. I'd like nothing better than to be like we used to, but, oh, I don't know, things just seem to get on top of me lately.
It's the same with me. Some days I go through hell at the office and then I come home and you start. Well, I just blow up.
Well, what do you say? Should we go out with Jack and Frida tonight and really try to enjoy ourselves? Might be a start.
Yes, why not? Then perhaps tomorrow we can sit down and talk it out like civilized people. Look, I'll just pop next door and tell them, and you get yourself ready, okay?
All right, then. Marsh, I've decided. Yes, I've thought it out and I don't want your service. No, my mind is made up. Well, we've decided to try and sort things out our own way. Listen, I've told you no, and that's final. Please don't bother me again. If you do, I'll call the police.
The Pioneers, their big hit from 1971, Let Your Year Be Yeah. Good morning, it's 3 minutes to 8, and spread morning this morning to Tanya Wintrip of Kilnhouse.
What a lovely night we had last night.
Yeah, it was good fun. Jack and Frida are nice company, aren't they? Mm. We must all go out together more often.
Oh, that would be great. You know, I feel as though we're starting a new life.
Yes, I feel that too. I think life is about to be completely different for me. I wonder who that can be. Look, while you go and see who's at the door, I'll get the car ready.
Okay. What are you doing here? I told you not to bother me again. I told you I don't want your service.
So you did, Mrs. Roberts, so you did. Well, gentlemen, this is the lady. You know what to do.
What do you think you're doing?
Give him this stuff.
I forgot to tell you, Mrs. Roberts. If the wife doesn't accept our service, we think it's only fair to make the same offer to the husband.